Hi, everyone. So let's just remind where we stopped last time. So we went over quite a few things and we touched upon this demo script. So instead of completing it to the end at this point, I actually have a different kind of direction update that I did. I'll update in a second. And did we leave anything else? Right, so Mathieu, you were, I don't know if you saw this or not, but we discussed the point that you've raised for the last meeting. So just wanted to make sure you see this, and maybe if you have any other questions about what are the testing status of it. But what we actually ended up is just to sort of clarify that we have two main efforts for this version. One of them is to just run a demo script that we're setting up here, and the other is to run the automated tests that were created for this feature. These are the two testing methodologies that we'll employ for this version. There will be no more extensive QE or anything of that sort, but that will give us the validation that it is usable and performing what we think it should. So if you do have any questions or if suggestions on what can be done to add to that on either, maybe feel free to just jump in and discuss it. The demo script that I went over the last time is kind of so it's not complete, but it is somewhat it's highlighting most of what I wanted from last time, and we did added two things here, which were wondering if we want a demo or not, and what I did after that was to so since Wednesday, basically I we initiated in a bit of a bigger kind of task, which is to fix the upstream documentation structure, and I'll tell you what I mean. So there are, let me show you. There's too many options today for documentation. There's the two repos, the noobaa-core and noobaa-operator, which each one kind of has its own docs for different things relevant to the project for the different repos, but it's not really cohesive, and it's not really providing a really single way of having like a user guide or a user manual of how to use Noobaa versus how to develop. And I think this was this has been this way for a bit of for some time now and needs to be fixed. And I did have other things I wanted to add there from before. We had more content from our knowledge base, so I have more content that I can add. But I think the first thing is to take care of, and I'll show you. There's either a doc folder in the noobaa-operator repo, which has a lot of usage information, how to use, how to run, how to use CLI, how to use API, things like that. And if we go back to the noobaa-core repo, there's quite a lot, not a lot, but like 40 wiki pages. Some of them are obsolete or somewhat not updated, so needs to be reviewed. But a lot of them are, still valuable and have good information. So what I started doing was to create this, and I'll show you. And we'll see how this goes. It's not complete yet, but it's a repo that represents basically the entire organization of NooBaa here in GitHub, and its users just GitHub pages. So this is just the markdown, right? So it's just an index page for like getting all the things here. So I try to keep it somehow. It's still partial, of course, but try to keep it between user guide, some kind of a deep down or more of a design documentation in some cases, and more information, right? Developers, community, etc. So that was what my goal was, to just put all the pieces into these titles. And then what happens is that it's going to generate some template based on some template, just doc sites like this. So, whenever I push anything to these markdowns, will just be deployed here. So that's nice, and it does what you expect. So, oops, am I showing the wrong screen? Yeah, I'm showing the wrong screen. So, yeah, when I opened this one is the generated website from this docs sort of repo. So I think that's the model that might work. So we can document the entire NooBaa organization and give information about all these tools in some way that can be integrated well. So that's it. So I was putting up this because this was pending on me for a while, and I really wanted to push this. And I have some structure, and I want to just import a few things from wiki and from docs. So some more markdowns will be added to just have all the content that we know, and maybe a small editing effort along the way. And then what my goal was just to have the feature of caching just be here as one of the user guides, so that we can give a guide on how to use it, right? So that we'll start from the demo script there, right? So the user guide will be the demo script at first, and as the demo becomes a product, we'll update and make it like be more officially non-demo and more like product-wise. So that's the plan here. So I need some more work on that. So the parallel thing I want to do in parallel is just to run the script and see how this goes. So that's another thing on the on my queue for this week. So I'll write down the updates. If anybody has an update besides the PRs, you're welcome to give it. And I know Mathieu Nimrod, I think, wasn't here, right? Yeah. So if anybody has an update, go ahead. If not, let me just write down my quick update. Oops. Yeah, so that was yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's go over the PR. Paul, are you on? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, give me a second. I'll open up the PR. Okay, so this is this one. I probably need to create a new column here for bug delay. Just move some things which I don't want to see all the time. This one I'm going to keep for a bit just to see if we can get to it. And this one, did we ever get to it? It's bucket specific reports and eviction triggers. I'm not sure if we got to this or not. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so we have here the follow-up for metrics, and we have cache, read bytes, write bytes, cache range, read, and object read miscount versus, so it's always miscount versus total.
Yeah.
This is how we, okay, and hub write. So the hub read and hub write are these representing miss, basically, right?
No, it's just total.
So hub write not. It's bytes. Yeah.
Yeah, the bytes. Yeah.
Okay, I see. I see now. Okay, and one other thing I might, I mean, I'm not sure if you have it somewhere which I didn't see, was to just note on how many revalidations were. It's like a. Maybe this is because I suspect that a lot of the misses, and I'm not sure if miss will be counted. So miss will probably count when we are actually going to read from hub, and not when we're going to just revalidate, right?
No. There's yeah, right. They just read from hub. It's not revalidate.
Yeah. So I would say maybe it would be an interesting thing to understand how many of our reads fall into the TTL versus how many need to revalidate.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a small thing. And then you have here testing instructions, and what is this? Yeah. And is there anything else in the comments here? Not yet. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So we have the endpoint report, and we have the Prometheus report. There's this cache, of course, and the endpoint collector. Okay, so let's take a look. So can you, yeah?
Yeah, those two functions added just for testing purpose. Okay.
So get metric and reset are for testing, you said. Oh, testing, not caching, I said.
No.
Okay. Maybe it's a good thing to add, to say, right? I mean, it's a utility function in any case, but maybe I would maybe
isn't it preferable? Sorry, but isn't it preferable for this kind of function to act from the outside and not be part of the hierarchy tree of the classes?
What?
I'm just asking, isn't this kind of methods which are basically only for testing, shouldn't we write them in a way that is acting from the outside and not part of the base class? Just in order to keep the base class clean, or even the entire class structure clean.
I'm not sure. So what is the alternative that you mean from
we already
when you
have
said the outside?
Yeah, I'm just saying we already have an accessor that's called registry, where you can get from a report its internal registry. So you can write all of this code from the outside as a utility function to just say reset like report. Now,
you mean that we can call this .registry.reset metrics wherever we need from tests as well?
Exactly. I designed it this way in order to allow us to access it when needed, like in a test, for example.
I don't see any reason here or there. I mean, if you provide reset metrics, is it really not something that should be exposed? Is that something you think we shouldn't expose it, or?
When you talk about a black box, let's say in this case, the reporter kind of a black box on the prompt client, you want to hide the details. But when you talk about testing, it's looking at it more like a white box. And in this case, it's okay to access the report.registry. I'm just saying.
Okay. I think you can. So perhaps, what do you say about noting the alternative? Right? Can you take like go over that and just put a comment on the alternative and how? Oops, what did I do? Sorry. No. Okay. So just make your comment. I think it's okay either way. It's of course, exposing the same functionality makes sense as well. I don't see it making a lot of difference. However, if you think there's better structure there for just accessing the registry directly from tests, then just note that. It's okay. Let's continue though. It's okay. And so now you're adding all these counters that we saw before.
Yeah.
And this schema is the one that, so this is defined from the base. Basically, the base can parse this.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is not correct. The schema is not. It's by design not digested from the base because I didn't want to enforce a specific schema. And you can see it that the code that processes the schema is in the actual class. It was a decision by Paul, I believe, to do it the same as the core report and not the way I suggested, but that's fine.
Do you have anything you think would be better then?
Again, it's an opinion. It's an opinion thing. I think that this thing should be more verbal and more like descriptive, and I think it's better to just define.
Oh, I see. You said that it's better to just put the actual counters inside the constructor versus defining a const array and then
that I've had with the OAD. So basically, OAD is a proponent of putting those things into the constructor, and I'm the proponent of the second thing. So whatever is better for you to use, and you can use it. It doesn't matter. Either way, it will work.
The only thing that I'm really against is trying to create setters on the class using code, because it's not unified. Some setters need custom logic, and other setters need more generic logic, and some of the metrics are using set, and some of the metrics are using add or increase. So basically, I'm not totally against this way of defining the metrics. I'm just against trying to create setters out of this definition.
Okay, so I since you seem to have all the view of how you think an alternative would actually look like, and perhaps you can put the example of your alternative in a comment so that we can review and say, this looks better, or this looks better, or we don't mind.
The alternative was there. The alternative, he just rewrote the alternative. If you see the deletions, the deletion is the alternative.
Which means to just put the metrics in line one by one.
Fine, it's his decision to make. I'm just against creating setters on the fly. That's it.
So either way, whatever is better for Paul to use and whatever suits him better for his purpose, then he will call it. I mean, both of the ways work.
Genuinely, I don't think anybody is claiming that it doesn't work.
No, I'm saying that this discussion, I'm not sure if this discussion should be across that, because someone says this and someone says that, and if Paul uses that, then he can use that. It doesn't matter how he calls it, right? It's his decision. So
Maybe I agree, but the fact that someone chose an alternative doesn't mean that it doesn't open up a good discussion for, or maybe Paul will see that he prefers a different way, or I don't know.
So
I'm not.
I do.
I have a question to Paul. Paul, can you explain, please, how do you set the metrics from outside the report? Where is the code that uses the report? Because
Yeah, so you can browse to the other guy. Maybe you just go to a namespace cache.js.
Mhm.
so what is this update metric? No,
Update metric, so it's a line 122, in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, so stats collector. I still don't see you accessing the actual reports.
That's the stats collector is instance to the Prometheus metric report.
Oh, okay. So what you are doing, you're actually exposing the underlying metrics as properties on the report. I think this is a bad practice, because I think that we don't want to expose the library that we use as a public interface. This is why we actually added the report itself as a way to mitigate, to put a barrier between the implementations of the metrics, which are the prom client library, and the accessing code. What we did in the other report is use setters on the report that access the actual metrics inside, and not just access them directly, because if tomorrow we'll decide to change the library and move from this prom metrics library to another prom library, this code will break. But if you put the abstraction and put some setters on the report itself, it's the same way we did in the noobaa-core report. This will be abstracted from the calling sites. So this is the thing that is basically missing for me when I will review this code. For me, I think it's problematic to access the internal implementation of the metrics themselves, because it's not our API, it's the library's API.
And where are we doing it? On which line?
Here in update
This
metrics, you can see that you do stats collector, and then he put this update metric function name.
Yeah, but this is the functions that he defined.
Yeah, but can you go please to the report? This is basically what I tried to say earlier. And please go to the code where he defines this function. Okay. So I was mistaken. He's not using the actual metric. He's expressing a dynamic setter based on. Okay, so this is better, but you will find that some cases are harder to configure like this. We have encountered it in our own report. This is why I'm against it. But if it works for you, Paul, it's a way to do it.
I think, Odd, I think it's useful if you can really give any, your actual review, but like on the PR.
Yeah,
and then thanks. Okay. We just have a couple more minutes, and I don't want to go after the meeting. So let's just make sure that we cover. So we have this code for creating the report, and we have the updates in namespace cache. And these updates are somehow typically, or I don't know, they seem to be typically an increment. So a counter will always increment, right? So an update will, for a counter will increment, and a histogram will
histogram will be done by Matthew. That's really added for the timing related stats, latency stats.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. Okay, and that will do some kind of a push to the histogram, right?
Yeah.
What is? I don't know what this
Yeah.
means, but it will.
Yeah, observe just a function provided by Prometheus for for instrument histogram stats. The different type of metrics has different functions in Prometheus client.
I see. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So then we have these latencies defined already? No.
Latency will be done by Matthew.
Matthews. Okay. Got it. Let's see. So here we're doing all the counting. All the counting is it's non-blocking. It's not going to throw or anything like that, right? So it's always in memory update.
Yeah.
And let's see. Okay, so one thing we would probably want to validate is just the maybe that the timing of the update is the making sense, right? So if we are doing something, we want to actually make it after, not before, or not inside, right? For example, that will be something that when I read it more carefully, I might want to check it if there's any difference. And other than this, I understand what Ohad was saying, but I do think that this is quite, you did abstract it from the rest of the code, at least, so that you can write this code, at least, without needing to change it much. Maybe even, you could remove, anyway, not now. I'll go over it more organized. It's not really important. It's just suggestions on how to organize the configuration code here better. And let's see, and this will just, what does that do?
This one is, since we already have the endpoint stats collector, so this one just piggyback this file to instrument the hop read bytes, hop write bytes counter. Because this file actually takes care of the
all the other
all the other
bytes counts.
Yeah. Just piggyback to make it a central place so that I don't have. Otherwise, it could be in namespace cache.js. But since I already have the file, just use this file as a central place to pack all the hop related stats here.
Okay, got it. Okay, so it actually looks pretty simple. The only question is really if we have some useful way to organize it, and I think between us, right, there's a lot of ways to write it. I think we just need to somehow have a good view that when we are reading the code, it's easy to read. I think that's a good goal for us. And if somebody's saying, well, this is not the easiest to read, but I can read it pretty well, it's okay. If there's like this, if we're not thinking the same, let's do it offline. Like, let's go over this offline and make sure we have some more opinions so that we can decide together. So I think that's enough. It's good also that we'll have all of us that we had all of us see the change, and now we can go over this offline. So I hope by Wednesday we can get this done. And do you guys have any plan for something else added to this? Like, you want this to get merged before you're creating the rest of the work?
I think that Matthew's work on the latency metrics depends on the changes. That's okay. Otherwise, no other dependencies.
Okay, guys. Anything else to add? Perfect. So what I hope we'll have by Wednesday is, and let me jump back to the agenda so that we can wrap up here. See what we want to say for next time. So let's look at that. We want to go over this PR and complete that. So that's the non-latency metrics. The metrics. Okay. And we probably want to either we want to review. I'll do her and or either kind of thing. So we want to either review the demo result, attempt, I would say. See how that looked like and what we want to improve, or any issues that arise from it, or maybe not, or maybe we do. That's what we should do. Focus on that. That will be good. The thing maybe also. So of course we'll take a look at the docs. So yeah. Any other work we had pending? I think maybe only Jackie was having some work pending, but I don't know the status, so I'll check this. And there was this. Okay, so I'll keep that in the list for next time, so we can verify what we're doing with this. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I'll wrap up the list for Wednesday, and we'll see you then. Okay.
Yep. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.